Hello, this is Dr. Michael Shearer with LearnLOCATOR F-Tx, a comprehensive clinical and laboratory education YouTube channel for Zest Dental Solutions LOCATOR F-Tx fixed attachment system. In this video, I'm going to be demonstrating the seating and removal tool that's available now from Zest Dental Solutions, specifically for removing, servicing, as well as reinserting the F-Tx prosthesis. In front of us, we have everything that we need to demonstrate the use of this very innovative tool. We have our F-Tx patient wearing an F-Tx provisional restoration or definitive restoration, and the F-Tx seating and removal tool. Included in our package from Zest, we have an instruction manual with a pictorial guide with a step-by-step description of how we're going to go ahead and use this tool. I'm going to go through most of these techniques right here in this video. First and foremost, this specific tool includes either the insertion or removal tool. The removal tool is a loop type of prosthesis clip holder that easily goes ahead and placed directly into my removal tool. This removal tool has a locking mechanism that allows you to vary the length of our little wire and lock it into place. How it's utilized is pretty simple. I take this and I screw this onto the end of my seating and removal tool until it's snug down all the way. And I'm going to keep inserting the tip in a counterclockwise fashion. Now the tool is assembled complete. As you see here, it's a pretty simple to use tool. All there is to function is this little plunger assembly right in here, which if I squeeze it, it creates a little popping sound. That popping sound is a spring-loaded device at the end of this removal tool. This removal tool is going to be simply inserted behind the prosthesis in different orientations to help dislodge the prosthesis. Now, it's important for us to also recognize that the seating and removal tool has a little dial here that looks like you can adjust that, but it's fixed. It's meant to stay at one particular setting for simplification of that removal of our F-Tx prosthesis. Additionally, if you have any other questions, most of these steps are outlined in our manual as well as our instruction manual directly from Zest. How to use the removal tool is pretty simple. I've already attached my loop end of my removal tool into my plunger assembly. It's important to note that this part can toggle on and off, just like so. It's important to know that I'm going to leave it attached firmly to the end of this. As I utilize this tool, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my patient and slide the wire end under the distal extension. With my hands carefully on the top of the prosthesis, I'm going to pull vertically, popping 2 to 3 times until it dislodges. It's important to recognize that as I remove this tool and I use it 2 to 3 times, it's going to dislodge the end of our distal extension. I'm going to carry through all the way across until I dislodge all of my individual F-Tx abutments. As I do that, I'm going to work forward, finding my next one that is still connected, and pop until I just have a single implant remaining. Now it's important not to try to wiggle this thing off with your fingers, but to continue to use the removal tool with the plunger assembly and very carefully pulling until it pops off clean. Somewhere between 1 and 5 times you're going to have to click this little tool to get this to disengage. And it's quite innovative how this functions, and is distinctly different from the loop in the bar technique as well as the prosthesis removal system that I've described earlier in other YouTube videos. This spring-loaded plunger assembly is innovative, very simple, and frankly, I absolutely love it. Now the neat part is that this is a single tool for prosthesis insertion as well as removal. So I have here my insertion tip. This tip will go onto the end of my spring-loaded device and is going to replace the end of this completely. I can use my little tool and unscrew this right in here if I wanted to go ahead and unscrew this component, or just simply use your fingers as you carefully unscrew the end of this tip. Now I can take this and very easily clean it off, run it through my sterilizer, things of that component, but for right now, I'm going to put it to the side, simulating that I've just removed my prosthesis for making final impressions or for servicing, allowing my hygienist to work underneath my F-Tx prosthesis to keep it clean. Ideally, what I would do is change out my retention balls. Anytime the F-Tx bridge comes off, I'm going to change out my retention balls. As I'm getting ready to insert this, I want to go ahead and carefully just allow it to sit on top of the abutments. Now it's important that as you assemble this back together, you'll note that this component very easily slides back on. And if you want to make sure it's secure, you can take this tip and you can use this little ratchet assembly, and the ratchet assembly allows you to go ahead and place this into the top here. There's a little notch on the tool. You can place it onto here, and then I could really rigidly lock this down using kind of a counterclockwise motion, but frankly, I just use my fingers. Now it's important that in our technique manual, it'll show you how to assemble all of our tools and everything you need. What we don't want to do is take our insertion tool and then just automatically start using it on our teeth. You could damage acrylic teeth or potentially chip off porcelain. What we need to do is we need to fabricate an index on the top of our F-Tx prosthesis. My preferred way of doing that is to use my chairside bite registration material. What I'm going to do is just take my chairside bite registration material and I'm going to very carefully apply it evenly across the entire occlusal surface. And I give myself a little tiny bit extra because a little cushion here is always preferred. As I fold that in, I'm going to just go ahead and let that now set up. And there we go. And you can do this in or outside of the mouth, perfectly fine how you would like to do that. After that material has a chance to fully set up, now what I'm going to do is just go ahead and then use my instrument, and I'm going to use my chairside bite registration material as a cushion for the prosthesis. When the material is fully set up, which just takes a few seconds, I'm going to align my F-Tx abutments. And now it's generally preferred to start in the posterior and then to rotate inward towards the anterior. What we're going to do is I'm going to take my insertion tool, turn it around so that way it sits comfortably in my hand. I'm going to come to the side of the patient and just carefully take this and hold as vertical as possible. I'm going to take that and 1, 2, 3 times, pop that into place, slide across to the opposite side, 1, 2, 3, and then my anterior, 1, 2, 3. As I do that, you'll notice that I can easily remove my bite registration material. Now my F-Tx prosthesis is securely fastened to my F-Tx abutments. It's important for us to understand that we don't want to angle our insertion tool because that's going to create an oblique force against my F-Tx abutments. I always want to insert my prosthesis as vertical as possible. Additionally, you're going to be using 2 to 3 times a click each individual side. So we typically recommend starting on the posterior, either on the right or the left side of the patient, whichever is easiest for you to get to. Then switch to the opposite side, click, 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 and then switch to the anterior, click, click, click. That will engage and fully support your prosthesis so that way it's fully supported all the way around. If you have multiple implant abutments, you typically want to click 2 to 3 times per F-Tx abutment. So now we've had a chance to go ahead and describe the entire insertion, seating, and removal tool in depth and detail. This is Dr. Michael Shearer with LearnLOCATOR F-Tx, a comprehensive clinical laboratory education for the Zest Dental Solutions LOCATOR F-Tx fixed attachment system. Look forward to seeing you in additional YouTube videos.